On this episode of Uinta Garage, we're doing shock towers on the 72 GMC Jimmy. We've got a set of upper shock towers from DIY 4x. Kurt's made these as a universal application. Usually goes on the frame, probably specifically made for square bodies because it goes over the steering on the driver's side in between the frame and the steering box. And they're gonna fit just about like that. We're gonna mount them up. We do have to adjust them just a little bit because they might be a little too tall for the shocks that we have planned and the suspension travel, but we got to do some measuring. We'll figure that out. So on my truck here, normally your stock shocks would go in this area here on 69 through 72 Chevy GMC, and on
about that height,
about there, and square bodies, same location, going from there down to the frame. That works out great for a standard suspension setup. This is a lot longer travel setup than stock. I've got the B52 kits, 52-inch long springs up front, and flexes out pretty good. So the old setup that I had was using the Ford shock towers, which brought my shock mount to about here. And the shocks that I had, unfortunately, were a little short. This will allow us to put in some longer shocks, and we're going to tune it so that they fit right. You got to measure your shocks, flex out your truck, make sure that everything is done right. And we've got a video, should be somewhere right in this area.
There's a link. Follow the link.
You can check out, see how to appropriately measure your shock distance and flex out your truck.
It really is as simple as that. These are fantastic shock mounts, especially square bodies, first gens. They go on really easy. They can be, we're gonna fine tune for length after we measure everything and get everything just dialed in so that Ryan has maximum articulation. He's not gonna run out of shock on rebound, and he's not gonna run out of shock on compression. It'll be just about, it'll use pretty much everything of a 14-inch travel shock. We also have these for lower mounts. These are actually, they're not only just a lower shock mount, but they're actually a gusset. So these go right here, and we're gonna weld these on. Obviously we'll clean up a little bit more. So this gussets the C to the tube, and that prevents bending. And then there are lowers that go on the bottom. These go on like this. Then you got your uppers down here. It substantially strengthens up the tube to the C connection. So when Ryan jumps the truck again, which we know he will, that it won't bend his front axle. These are also available from DIY 4x. We use a lot of Kurt's parts on our trucks. They're built well, they fit right, and they're made to be customized. So just like the name says, DIY 4x, he builds this stuff with the do-it-yourselfer in mind. So we're probably gonna just cut a little bit of that off, and then we'll cut a little bit of this off just to fine tune the length, get everything set up just right. It'll be a way better setup, and it'll maximize the use of the shock. Boom, like that.
We started by welding on the lower inner C support. Since the truck was on the lift, we had easy access to the bottom of the axle. These brackets are made to fit on the General Motors and Ford Kingpin Dana 60s, but will also work on the Dodge version with a small amount of fitting. One of my favorite tools for cleaning metal is this thin belt air sander. It makes quick work of stripping paint and gives control in tight spots. We put the shock towers on the frame to get an initial measurement. I should mention here that measuring twice before cutting is highly recommended. With the shock tower trimmed down, I tacked it onto the frame, and then got to work trying to get the shock into place. Once that bolt was in, we stood back, and it didn't look quite right.
So we're lifting the back of the truck in order to get our compression on the front shock so we know exactly where to put it. So by lifting the driver's side rear, we can compress the passenger side spring so we can see exactly where that shock needs to be.
How are we as far as like touching the hoist on the far side?
You're good. You got 4 or 5 inches.
Okay.
I mean, technically you should keep going until you lift the front tire on the driver's side front.
That's gonna be a minute.
Yep.
That'll give us unloaded and loaded, right?
Yep.
Oh, I think we're getting close. That's just about there, Josh.
Okay.
The spring on this side is unloaded, and that's completely flat over there. I don't know, you tell me. I see the truck can lean over more, which is crazy.
Yeah. I think you're past flat here. You're not completely unloaded here, but
It's almost there. One more crank?
yeah.
I'm actually surprised how well these springs flex.
Yeah. The fact that this is still on the ground, you still got 3 tires on the ground, and you're, what, 3 feet off the ground back there?
The measuring tape.
All right. Yeah, let's find out. By the way, your rear axle seals on the, or your rear axle leak too.
Okay. Well, I never cleaned them out after we drained them, so the wheels actually have oil in them too.
Oh, okay. All right, what do you got?
To the bottom, it is
Yeah, go to the middle.
29 inches.
That's pretty freaking good flex.
But wait, there's more.
Okay, you're touching over here. I mean, just barely on the soft top.
Okay. Well,
You are inverted on the front up here.
so I need to bring it down a little bit.
Well, let's see where this is.
Okay.
Because you're inverted just a little bit.
Just the slightest amount.
Yeah.
I've never stuffed it. Well, I actually do stuff it that much.
Because that still wouldn't hit your inner fender well, because it'd be right there.
Yeah. So that would put us at barely 20 inches, just under. Well, let's see. So to the bottom here is 19 and a half. So we need 21 and a half basically. Needs to be right there.
So to get that high, you need 21 and a half inches between the two at full flex.
So I cut those shock towers apart, trimmed them down by 2 inches to get the shock to sit down on the frame a little bit more, thinking that the shocks were going to be too long for the static setting that I was looking at. Once we got the shock in on the frame though, it just wasn't right. I was looking at it, had Josh look at it, and it just looked off. So we decided to use the gantry, lift up the back end of the truck to really get a good compression set and extended measurement on both sides of the truck. And found out that these brackets are actually set up perfectly for the shocks that I've got. So I don't even have to do a modification on them. I've actually welded the piece that I cut out back on, and now we're gonna get those welded onto the frame. I'm gonna clean them up real quick though, I think so it looks like it never even happened. I'm gonna burn these in.
The inner fenders were patched to cover where the old shocks came through, and new holes were shaped to accommodate the shock towers. Once everything was ready for assembly, we shot it with gloss black and kicked back to watch the paint dry. Stay tuned for more upgrades and wheeling action.
There they are. I can't see what I'm doing. There we go. I really do know exactly how these go on.